All right, we are back with an expert interview with Rhea Dempsey. Rhea Dempsey is an educator, trainer, doula, counselor, speaker, author, and birth activist. Rhea is the author of 2 books, Birth with Confidence, and her newer book, Beyond the Birth Plan. We'll talk about her books as well as the work that she's done over many decades in the birth world. I loved hearing how her personal experience with birth shaped her path to becoming a birth worker, and she just has so many different aspects that she contributes to the birth world, from doulaing and training to also her counseling side with helping people process their births. So I could go on, but I think it'd be much better to just get straight to the interview and let you guys hear the discussion that I had with Rhea. This is a sneak peek of the full interview, which is available to our Patreon supporters at patreon.com/birthhour at the $5 a month or more tier. You can check all of those different tiers out by heading over to that link, patreon.com/birthhour. And of course, we love every single one of your support, whether it's just listening to the podcast every week or supporting financially via Patreon. All right, enjoy this sneak peek with Rhea Dempsey. I love so much of what you said. I love that you mentioned the cultural effect on birthing people preparing for labor and birth. It's like you hear from young ages about the awful pain of labor. You see it in film, and then once I was pregnant, I heard it from women above ages above me that had given birth, and it was almost like I would be stupid to experience the pain, to make a choice that didn't include pain relief, and you feel small for even considering it almost.
Yes.
And I never judge anyone's, decisions or what type of birth they want, but I do think that it's important, like you were saying, to kind of examine that aspect of why we think birth should be pain-free or why we might want a pain-free birth. And it's a different kind of pain. And I've heard you talk about that before as relating back to your physical education background. I believe you referred to it as like functional versus pathological pain. Is that right?
Yes. I talk about it as functional physiological pain, of the body working strong and hard, when the muscles and all those glorious parts of our bodies that can work strong and hard. And so that's a pain of effort, of work, the body working. Whereas particularly when we put birth in a hospital context, then the pain that we think about when we think about hospitals is the pain of things going wrong in the body, disease, danger, accident. Often, I don't know whether it happens in America, but sometimes it's said, when women before their labour talk about, I can't wait, to feel my body working and I want to have a go and so on. And people will say things like, well, you wouldn't have a tooth pulled without, drugs, you wouldn't have your leg cut off. All of these things, which again are speaking about pathological pain where things are going wrong, but not, I think that separate to home births, of course, which gives a different picture. But I don't know, if we did births in yoga studios, if we gave birth in gyms or the weight room,
I think about marathon runners or Ironmen, like Iron Women, they're like celebrated for going through this insane pain. When my husband tells me he wants to train for a marathon, I'm like, you're crazy. But of course I support it, and I would never be like, diminish that pain that he's going to go through for it. It's like everyone's so proud of you for going through that, and it's a personal goal. So, and I don't know about you, but when I gave birth unmedicated, I certainly felt like I had run a marathon. I had muscles sore the next day that I didn't even know existed. So
yeah. And I guess it's also that thing, not that we can liken it entirely, but we can certainly liken it much more to a marathon run than we can to pulling out a wisdom tooth or something.
Right.
That if you were going to do that, then of course you would be wanting to be training with and have as on your team, your support team, some people who knew a thing about what that feels like and how you go about it, so that if you did come into one of those crisis of confidence moments, and maybe in marathon running we would call it hitting a pain barrier, that you had people around you who could encourage you through and keep you going and, get back into your breath and your rhythm and so on. Right. And so this is, of course, so similar for birthing, that those challenging moments, I'm calling them crisis of confidence, we could call them hitting pain barriers.
Yeah.
Somebody who's, done this before, who can look you in the eye, who can settle your breathing, who can keep you moving, can keep you shifting and changing position and moving. So this is around that idea of Yeah, we do it all the time, or certainly we celebrate it all the time in the realm of sport and fitness and well-being, that working with functional physiological pain of the body working really strong and hard. Really the mindset around birthing is so much about the pain being around pathology. If not actually things going wrong in the body, certainly the pathology of pain only as suffering rather than pain as power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just thinking back on my own births, listening to you talk, and I feel so lucky to have had the support team around me. You know, I just little bits are flashing into my mind of my midwife just saying, "You're so strong, you're so strong," when I'm pushing and screaming bloody murder and so much pain. But that's what I remember. And there was even a moment with my most recent birth where she had me switch positions and I was like, it hurts worse, and she's like, that's because it's working, you're doing so good, you're opening up, rather than immediately trying to get rid of that pain. It's like, no, there's a common goal here to get the baby out. And to hear the rest of this amazing conversation with Rhea Dempsey, head over to patreon.com/birthhour and pledge your support at just $5 or more a month.